Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, my prediction on who is going to be the Raiders captains in 2024. Everybody spam Chugs down below, and I'll tell you what he said to me right here. So the Raiders captains in 2023, we had 9 of them. Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Jacobs, no longer with this football team. So that means we got 7 captains from last season on this roster. What I'm going to try to do on today's show is I'm going to tell you who I believe the captains for the 2024 Las Vegas Raiders are going to be under Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco, but I'm also going to try to predict who the new captains are going to be because, let's be honest, probably going to have some familiar faces. If you are subscribed to the Raiders Report, I want you to spam yes down below. My goal for the month of July is to give love to the real ones, show why you should subscribe to the show. We're going to give love to the new subs, and if you're not, then hit that subscribe button today. If you didn't see what happened on our July 1st live show, that's an Oakland tailgate in a nutshell. You don't know what the hell's going to happen, man. Shout out to all the real ones. Shout out to Mount Raider Moore. We are an unbelievable family here. You're good. You can say it.
If yes, when did you subscribe?
You know what? I totally forgot about that part. If you have subscribed, let me know down below. Shout out to Ricky, Jonathan, Tim T. Did you purposely have Tim T and then Tim? Are they the same person? I don't really know. I think we can both agree on this. Both of them possibly 100% are definitely a Tim. But this is why you subscribe to the show. Raiders content, we're going to chop it up like a friends and family, and multiple Tims. Here are the Raiders captains guaranteed for this upcoming season. We got 7 of them, and I think we can all agree that this is going to be the unit that's probably not going to get their C's taken away. You can make the argument of maybe a Marcus Epps, but this is also why I just continuously say, Marcus Epps is one of the most underrated safeties in the NFL because of what he does on and off the field and how much of a leader and how intelligent of a player he is for our defense, and then what he does for just all the other guys encompassing this mentality every night. So coming up here, I got the top 5 new captain candidates in 2024. And I'm not saying that all 5 of these players are going to be captains, but I'm going to guess that most of the votes that come in here are going to be around these 5 players. I did try to just, outline them of who I think is the more likely and less likely. And as this list goes down, is kind of how the way that I did that. First player coming up here, though, is Nate Hobbs. And I think Nate Hobbs has got a really, really good opportunity ahead of him where he can be a legit outside corner. He can also be a legit inside corner. And that versatility is something that Patrick Graham needs for this defense. Ricky Manning said that this is kind of like the key to unlocking this team. And if your coaches are saying that about you, we know the upside of Nate Hobbs. We've seen it. It's as high as, come in, Raider, bang! But Nate Hobbs is also that player that I do think can unlock a lot of things. We always talk about 12 personnel on the offensive side of the football and how confusing that can be for your defensive coordinator. Nate Hobbs is kind of that guy. He's kind of our gadget guy, our Trey Tucker mixed in with a little bit more of Brock Bowers because he's going to cause a lot of confusion for the offensive coordinator because you can line him up in a lot of different things. My point, though, here is with a guy like Hobbs is if you're looking at this cornerback room, tell me out of this cornerback room who is the most deserving of being named captain. I mean, this is either Nate Hobbs or Jack Jones. And because of that, I put Nate Hobbs on the list. Let's go to the next player here that we're going to be breaking down as a potential captain. It's Andre James. So the Las Vegas Raiders, they re-signed James this offseason. And you got a new offensive line coach in James Craig. But when you look at this roster, okay, as the longest tenured Raiders players, Andre James is on that list. UDFA from UCLA, somebody that's been around since 2019, and the only players that have a longer longevity than Andre James, Maxx Crosby, Kolton Miller, that's it. So the Raiders, they made a decision to bring him back. Tom Telesco was a believer that if you're going to win, you're going to win in the trenches. And I know that Kolton Miller is already a captain. But I'm just telling you, Andre James carries more weight and has a bigger voice amongst the Raiders' offensive linemen and amongst that Raiders team than a guy like Kolton Miller does. Andre James is a player that is very, very highly regarded, and because of that, could be somebody to just keep in mind as being a potential captain. We got more captain candidates coming up here on the show, but you know what? If you want to walk to a Raiders tailgate, if you want to be the captain of a Raiders party in Vegas this season, what I really want to see more of this year, and I'm just being honest, I want to see more Raiders Report gear. I want to see the jerseys that we've been sending out to people. I want to see Raiders Report t-shirts. I want to see Real One shirts, and if anybody wants to get one, go to chatsports.com/RO4L. You're going to be able to get a bunch of the shirts that we have to offer. But the reason why that I want to see them is because it's one of those things where, you know, when you go to a Vegas game, right, you like look at a bunch. My mic went out. And now we're back. Are we back? Live TV at its finest. So, you get Corn the Long Way shirts, Broncos, Chargers, but like I always, when I go out to Vegas, I want to know who the hell is actually watching our show. If you have one of these shirts on, I instantly know. And Chugs and I are going to be taking some trips out to Vegas this year. We're going to be hooking up. I'm not going to say that. We're going to be hanging out with a bunch of Raiders fans all year this year, and I just want to know where my real ones are at. So if you're watching this show in July, real one. Chatsports.com/RO4L. And who knows? Chugs said, you know what? If you want to wear one of these shirts, we'll sign it. Absolutely. That way you don't have to get it tatted. Let's go to the next one. Shout out to you, Taino. Gardner Minshew, quarterback. And bottom line is, Chugs and I have had this debate, you know, a bunch of times where somebody at the quarterback position is probably going to be a team captain. But breaking down which one it's going to be, kind of a tough decision, right? Like, I think Gardner Minshew, if he's the starting quarterback of this team, deserves to be the captain of the football team, because you can't have another quarterback be a captain, and I think every single NFL team has a QB that is a captain. So just because I'm saying it's a battle between Gardner and a battle between Aidan, you're going to end up picking a QB to be the captain anyway. And I don't think that you can take the captain status away. Yeah, it might be weird if Gardner wins the battle and Aidan's the captain, or vice versa. But because this battle's going to come down to the very, very end of maybe not knowing who that starter is going to be, my question is this. Who's going to be, will the Raiders starting quarterback be a captain? Give me a yes or no. Because if I'm Telesco, if I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm not making the decision of who's going to be the Raiders starting quarterback publicly until week one, the day before the actual game. And when the captains get announced compared to when you actually play the game is probably like 7 to 8 days. I don't want to give Jim Harbaugh that extra edge of competence. I don't want to give him that extra week to be able to prepare. We see NFL teams prepare all the time in a week span. But I will admit, if the Raiders name either Aidan O'Connell or Gardner Minshew a team captain a week before the Raiders actually play, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, well, now I know who the Raiders starting quarterback is. And I think that you give that extra leg of competition to your opponent. So give me a yes, give me a no. Will the Raiders starting quarterback this upcoming season be named team captain? We saw Jimmy Garoppolo do it last year. How did that work out? Let's go to the next name here. It's Aidan O'Connell. It's not a surprise. And the reason why I have Aidan here after Gardner is because I do actually think that if the season started today, Aidan would be the starting quarterback, because based on reports from Jeremy Fowler, based on things that we said, 2-3 weeks before Jeremy Fowler, it was based on the idea that Aidan O'Connell had the leg up on the competition. Joan Scheffler! Bang! And because he had that extra leg up on that competition is why I have Aidan a little bit higher. But I'll also say this. If you were to tell me which quarterback in the NFL, maybe which quarterback in the NFL is the most deserving to being named captain, but isn't the starting quarterback of their team? I'll say Aidan O'Connell. Like, I don't know if you can give me a better name because Gardner's not really a leader outside of the locker room the way Aidan is, but whatever Gardner does, like, Gardner's a player to me where he's probably the most annoying guy when he was growing up because he was like, I'm just going to show up to practice, but on game day, I'm a gamer. And Gardner Minshew is a freaking gamer, where Aidan might be the better practice player, so it wouldn't surprise me. It would surprise me. But if they were to do it this way, you name Aidan the captain and Gardner the starting quarterback. Let's now go to the final player and the most likely new captain. It's going to be Christian Wilkins. And the only reason why I say this is because money talks, right? Money talks. I know the Raiders already have a captain on their defensive line in Maxx Crosby. However, though, the amount of money that was spent on Wilkins, if you're giving a player a 4-year, $110 million, $82.5 million contract, where he's right now the second highest paid player at his position, and when he made that deal in free agency, I mean, it was like a monumental deal. You gave Christian Wilkins quarterback money. Like, if that's the move that you're going to make, you don't give the type of contract that you do to Christian Wilkins unless you view him as a team captain. And I think Wilkins is a hell of a football player, but he doesn't have any Pro Bowls, right? He has been a little bit inconsistent. He's never had the talent around him that he's about to have, and he's getting Rob Leonard back, which I think is the best defensive line coach in the NFL. But, like, on top of that, though, you don't give somebody that you view as a team captain that type of money unless you view them as a team captain. So let me know down below. Last season, the Las Vegas Raiders, wow, breaking Celtics news. How many captains will the Raiders have this season? The Silver and Black last season had 9. How many captains will the Silver and Black end up having this upcoming season? For me personally, if you had 7 last year or 9 last season and you have 7 now, based on the players that I just talked about, you have to add 2 more. Your quarterback, Christian Wilkins, for that reason, minimum 9 captains for the Silver and Black. If you want to know some honorable mentions that I had, Jacoby Myers is super well respected in that room. He's not the loudest guy, but like if you were to ask every single Raiders player who's like the most father-like figure to a lot of the other players, it's Jacoby. John Jenkins is in that exact same boat. He's also got a lot of pull because of Crosby's pull in that team. Jack Jones, the other corner next to Nate Hobbs. Trevon Merrick, I think, deserves to be in that conversation. And then Malcolm Kuntz. Malcolm Kuntz is a player that this coaching staff is very impressed by his maturity. They think he's already talented, but it's that maturity that was able to take it to the next level. So one more time here are the new captain candidates for the Las Vegas Raiders this upcoming season. I got Nate Hobbs, Andre James, Gardner Minshew, Aidan O'Connell, and Christian Wilkins. If you want me to share this on my Instagram story, tag me at Mitchell Renz 365. Every person that takes a screenshot tags me. I promise you I will share it on my Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365.